We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. With Maxwell Silverhammer. We are nothing sacred. With cruise control. We are nothing sacred.
Oh, ho, ho. Well, it is the 5th of November, 2019. I'm a fucking worn out and beat cruise control.
And I'm Maxwell Silverhammer. It's been off all day.
And I'm Koala. Tired but good. We're good.
Oh, okay. We're good. We got Koala on the show tonight. Yay!
Hey, check it out. We got an extra co-host for the night.
An extra co-host for the night. This is our second try at this.
Yeah.
It's
so
like
hopefully
we do better than the first time, as it was a fumbling mess in the back seat of a car for whatever you want to call it. Hey, I've got some weird metaphors, and let me explain where I'm at, right, guys. Okay, first of all, I've had a 10-hour day today where I've just nonstop calls in a disastrous department that I'm in, so I'm not even going to go into that too much. And I'm also on the day 2, late day 2 of a water fast.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like loopy, as Scott puts it, my bro, or what's his name? What we have a name?
Was it Schizo Scott or
no, not Schizo Scott? It was.
What was the other name we gave? I don't think we ever did give him a name, did we?
We gave it Sergeant Self-Conscious, or is that a?
No, that's Sergeant Self-Righteous.
Whatever. Yeah. See, like I said, I'm a bit out of it, and if you don't know anything, our lovely listener out there, listener. Listeners. Actually, yeah. No, if you don't know, when you do a water fast, after about 24 hours, it's really, really good for you. And it's very, very, after a day or two, after you get over this certain hump, you start to feel really good and really focused and clear and clean because you're literally cleaning your body out. Your body's eating yourself. There's a lot of weird stuff called autophagy is what it's called. And what happens is autophagy literally means to eat yourself.
Damn.
And I'm not talking about like a Marilyn Manson, taking a rib out and blowing.
I was saying, man, if I could do that, I wouldn't leave my house,
Yeah.
So.
No, I'm talking about like your cells literally recycle themselves and eat each other, and then into new cells after you get into ketosis, which is the first thing that starts happening. So.
Well, and Koala's a massage therapist. So what do you think about all this?
What does that have to do with?
Okay. Well, because she's into health and. Fitness and yeah.
Okay. What do you think about it? Have you ever tried fasting, Koala?
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh no. Seriously?
Yep. She's gone.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, we lost her for a second there, but we're back. Fuck it. We're going to keep going.
That's just what we do.
Yeah, well,
So what do you think of the whole fast thing, Koala? Because obviously you're a massage therapist. You work with health and fitness and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm a nutritionist too, but I don't typically take clients for that purpose.
Oh, cool.
I do it so that for basically cover your ass because I want to be able to, if people ask me questions, and I'm interested in nutrition. I think fasting is really good. I think people do it the wrong way a lot of times. One thing that people do is the wrong way to fast is go, you know what, I'm going to fast so I can eat whatever the shit I want to eat before I fast. You don't want to do that. Yes. So if you want to flood your body with good nutrition for several days at least to prep yourself to be able to put yourself into that detoxing where your cells are, starting to eat themselves. And day 2 is awesome. Sometimes a weird thing that happens when I've done it, and I don't do a complete fast. I do just enough so that I can do my workouts without basically totally breaking down. So like 50 calorie snack, maybe every 4 hours. something like that. So it's almost the same. And then just a lot of electrolytes and water to keep you hydrated. But one thing I noticed is that it was really brutal is by day 3, sometimes I'm like, I can just keep going. This is awesome. And then I'm like, no. Now I'm just kind of getting wacky. So I only ever do it about 2 days. How long do you usually typically do yours?
Well, I've just started doing it recently. My longest was 4 days. I did it from a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I didn't eat from a Sunday till a Friday. And it was the craziest thing because day 4, I was literally went to an improv thing that I was doing, and I was bouncing off the goddamn walls, like literally just energy, unbelievable energy. And one thing I didn't do the first time that I didn't really get a lot of electrolytes, but I've actually prepped myself with potassium and sodium supplements in my water, and that makes an absolutely massive difference in just the way I feel this time. So yeah, that's the big thing, and also eating better before, like that's the problem. People go and crash a little party, and they're like, oh, and then they won't, give themselves a day or two to recover, before jumping into the damn deep end and just not, not eating at all.
Right.
And the thing I noticed, and it's really not a very good thing to do when you're working on a customer service line, is that you can't speak as well. You have to grasp for words, and because right now your body's like really literally detoxing. I mean, you can feel like
I think you're both crazy. I would never do that shit. I can't go without eating.
No, that's your mind telling you that. You condition yourself to do that because honestly, if you were born a couple million years ago, you would you would be sickened by anybody eating more than twice every couple fucking days. That's the way we were born. We were meant to. That's why we evolved.
Well, that's like the other crazy thing that you do. That Wim Hof. You still do that?
A little bit. The cold showers and stuff like that. Those are interesting. But I don't. The breathing is kind of. I'm off and on that. I do take a cold shower every once in a while. It really is good and invigorating for you. But some people do crazy shit like fucking dry fast. Like my brother's fucking dry fasting. He doesn't eat or drink water for like a day or two.
Nothing. That's fucking crazy.
But
I think that's a way to fuck yourself up.
No, it's not. It really is not. The science is overwhelmingly in favor of this, and I think Koala can give me a little can give more of. She's as a nutritionist, it's really becoming more and more obvious how good fasting or a reduced calorie meals and reduced calorie diet is really good for you. Actually,
you there?
It is. I'm a little concerned about dry fasting.
Yeah.
Because of the lack of oxygen that a lot of our muscles have. Once again, I'd say you have to really make sure that your body is in a state. I don't know that many of us are going to find ourselves in a situation where we may be in the desert and have to go a couple of days. So it might not be something. It's like a lot of things. You really can't just jump into it. You could do it, but it's sort of like totally different idea. But I have people that tell me, I could just make myself do a 50-mile bike ride. I'm like, yeah, you could, but you should train for it because you're going to fuck yourself up if you don't. And it's going to be your hands probably that are going to mess you up. So it's going to be weird stuff that you don't know. So when you get into these things, it's really important that you train for the hardships you're going to put on your body. Your body can improve from that for sure. But there's also detrimental things that can happen. You want to make sure your kidneys are healthy. Ketosis is not a state that I would recommend a lot of people go into that tend to be heavy drinkers or put a lot of taxation on their kidneys because it can compromise your kidneys if you're doing it too much and if you have an excessively high protein diet. So those are specific things.
Gotcha.
These can all be healthy, but you got to be smart about it. And it's not a one size fits all. If you're, Brett, you might have blood sugar things that we would need to address, not diabetes, but maybe we would ease you into that. We wouldn't just say, let's give you 3 days of good nutrition, then we're going to jump you into a serious water fast. We'd probably want to look at what foods you react to more and what exercise you react to more.
That could
just
be.
Get you set for it.
I don't know. I'm like one of those things. Is like kind of like being shot. You never want to do it. You never want to do it just by even though it's never happened to you. So
Yeah, I'm just saying that we've been conditioned.
I mean,
Go ahead, Koala.
You could condition yourself
to get shot.
to be shot, I guess. It's usually better that way. They get the Kevlar,
Yeah, exactly. Just start shooting yourself,
Well, that already happens in inner city Chicago, so they're already conditioned to
right
to get shot there.
Wow.
But we are conditioned to eat like we've been conditioned because we are so used to this lifestyle to just shovel food in our faces all day long, 3 meals a day, 3 solid meals a day, all this stuff, and it's just even if you don't do a fast, like that's the reason why you lost all that weight is because of a reduced calorie diet. A lot of it probably is that you just don't eat. You don't need to eat just constantly all day. That's the problem. Is your body is digesting. From what I understand, digestion is pretty much one of the biggest energy takers of anything. I mean, basically, it really just taxes your body constantly because you're literally pushing food constantly into you, and your body's working all the time to digest and process it. And a lot of the shit you're putting in you is awful, especially our diets here in the U.S., like breads and carbs. And if it was like a 1 meal a day thing, that's one thing I do a lot that I really like is intermittent fasting, where I have a window of eating per day, where I only eat in the evenings, like after work. That's what I normally have done recently, and I really enjoy that. It really feels good to do that. But you just have to make sure you're getting good food during that time. So, but
I guess so. I mean, with the Nutrisystem diet, they wanted you to eat a lot. As far as you had your breakfast, you had your mid-morning snack, you had your lunch, then you had a snack in the afternoon, then you had dinner, then you had another snack. So they encouraged you to eat more. So that's what I liked about it, and that's what I took to it. So that's how I lost the weight.
So that's my story right now. I'm just loopy, and my job is just, good God. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, we should, I actually have a rant for you guys. I think you both will jump into this. Okay, so you both know about my assistant's accident, correct? And I've talked about it on the show. Where she fell and fucked herself up real good. Yeah. And last week, Koala went beyond the call of duty and hooked us up with a person who's out here. He kind of goes, he's back and forth. But anyway, he's out here till like the 12th or something. And so she sent me she sent me the stuff the next day, So she said, she needs to get into a massage therapist, see somebody, whatever. And so I gave her the massage therapist info. She has still not called this massage therapist, but this is her this is like her cycle. This is what she does, because it's almost like feeling bad or feeling upset, this way she can be a victim somehow. It's that victim bullshit going on.
Well, if she never calls him, then she never gets treatment for something, then she can continue to use that as a crutch or a vehicle for, like you said, for victimhood, and also just for the need to feel like something's wrong. Because it seems like that's her problem. Like, if she was actually genuinely happy and life was good, she wouldn't be happy, because she'd be missing out on the habit of having something to... It's like when we worry about stuff sometimes, like it's a habit.
Right.
Well, with her, obviously, if she went there and got treated, then she couldn't be upset about it and make it an issue during, and use it to her advantage, honestly.
Yeah. It's crazy. She does it with everything, not just this.
Well, and I think there's a couple things going on. There's a couple things going on too that I'd be curious about. I'd be curious about her history with treatments, if she's found them aggressive or someone has, given her an unpleasant experience. Oftentimes with physical therapy, chiropractic, and massage therapy, if you have somebody that pushes you into pain, you may be reluctant to go back there, or if you're uncomfortable for some reason. So I'd talk to her about that. But also the other thing is, we've trained people, particularly in this country, not to help themselves.
That's interesting. So, in other words, give them drugs, give them Band-Aids for bullet wounds, kind of shit.
System. We really have.
Well, because it takes.
Because
yeah, go ahead.
It's like. Yeah, like, okay, you can do exercise and physical therapy and actually push yourself, be a cortisone shot and really mess up your tissues, cause further degeneration to the cartilage and cellular structure, but you'll be numbed out. So what you want to do, and we encourage people to go toward the shot, the surgery, the actual thing that's going to impair them more, but it's a quick fix. And I think we look for that in medicine, just like we do in entertainment, everything. We're a quick fix culture.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Because we also put more money into, there's a cost thing.
Yeah.
We'll put more money into our cars than we will into our bodies.
That's true. You're right. Because the first worry everybody has is, well, I won't be able to afford, concert tickets next weekend or some shit.
Or they'll put all that shit into the medication that will numb them when that money could have been spent on the physical therapy that would actually improve their lives and ease the pain regardless.
Right.
It's like you said, quick fix, because when you have to work for things, that causes you discomfort. And as a first world country in the modern world, discomfort is actually considered something that you should never have because it's wrong to be uncomfortable. That's why we have this triggered bullshit. People getting offended by stuff. It's not that they're actually hurt. They're just uncomfortable. They don't like to have to think about certain things. So instead of actually dealing with it, they say, it should never happen. Like children should never have discomfort. A child should never feel bad. How are they supposed to learn and grow?
Right. Yeah, you learn from mistakes, man. Your injuries are what teach you a lesson in a lot of cases. But but she doesn't. It's just that shit again. Well, I would think pain would be discomfort, right?
Yeah, but some people actually.
Well, it is, but we.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you.
Well, okay. It can be a badge. It can be I'm walking around in pain. There's a relationship with pain that is very unhealthy in this country. Think about how many syndromes we have. How many people want a syndrome?
Of course.
True.
Oh, yeah.
Think about that. Like when lactose intolerance became a thing. Now I have a serious allergy to milk. I actually don't digest the proteins. So it's like having food poisoning. I will tell you right now, you don't want that. But how many people, when it became trendy, well, I'm lactose intolerant. I just don't feel right when I eat it. Now, do you want an intolerance? Do you want a syndrome? People do.
Of course.
I don't know what it's about.
It's the gluten thing
crazy.
too. Like
I was just thinking
the gluten, and they don't even know if that's even fucking exists at all anymore. They have there's people that say that gluten intolerance, it does exist, celiac, whatever it's called, but so many people don't have it, and they have this gluten free, so they can go, I've got gluten free. It's the victim mentality. It's the way, because we have it so good in this country. I call it the Matrix syndrome. If you remember the Matrix, right? The movie The Matrix, and he's like, we tried to set up society to be so good in utopia, but you went insane and couldn't handle it. So it's almost like we have it so good here that and it's also a contrast too. Like we actually get upset. Like Brett's, I couldn't imagine not eating every day. There are people that would love to eat twice a week in this world right now, and they're grateful for being able to. But you're like, oh God, I couldn't imagine not having 3 meals a day. Oh.
Damn right.
Right.
That's just me.
What I'm saying is, it's the same thing. I couldn't imagine actually feeling any I don't feel real pain, so that's why we have this victim bullshit. Like, that's why people get pain by words. Words are violence now. And that kind of shit.
Bullshit.
Because when you can feel and claim to have pain, you can claim to be a victim, and you can claim moral superiority. And that's really what it's about. I'm in pain, so I'm coming to work. I'm coming to work, Maxwell. Even though I'm in such pain, I'm walking down, and I'm God, and you're
right. I've got it so hard, and look, and I'm still here. That kind of bullshit.
Well, and then there's the perceived importance of spending money and time on certain things too. That happens where I know people that will live in pain and they'll spend money on facials and manicures rather than coming to see me. Or they'll go to the wrong therapist because their insurance covers it. I'm not covered by insurance. I don't want to be. I don't want anybody getting in my business and how I treat people. So, but rather than see the right person for less sessions, they'd go to the free one. And then there's also people that will spend money on Pilates and personal training when their bodies aren't fit to perform those motions, when they need to come in for a few sessions, get their joints straightened out so that they'll actually receive the benefits from that. So there's a lot of skewed thinking in our society, and a lot of it I think has to do with victimization, shortcuts, misinformation. There's so much, it's trust me, there are times I just want to beat my head against the wall, but I don't want another concussion, so I don't do it. But it's just it's frustrating, and I don't really. What I do with those clients, like what you're describing with your assistant, is I basically, they can complain and tell me their situation, and then if they're not doing their homework or they blah blah blah, they don't get to complain anymore. They can still come in and they can tell me, okay, I'll say, how's it feeling? Okay, I still have pain. I'm just never, I'm like, no. I judge Judy on them a little bit. I'm like, you can't do that anymore. You can tell me what's subjectively happening, but if you're not doing your homework, I don't want you to talk about, I really have to get a handle on this pain. You do. So do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. So many people that want to complain but not do shit about it. And here's the other crazy thing. I actually had to get her to go to my chiropractor, and she likes going to my chiropractor. She actually likes, but I have to set up the appointments for her.
Stop doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
Yep. You see, that's a Maxwell curse, man. He tries to do these little things for people. He thinks, it's like, and then they become beholden to him, and he goes, why are these people always on my nuts? It's like, well, there's your fucking reason, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
I agree
as you
completely.
called me the blind bliper, the blind Pied Piper, which, by the way, if we haven't mentioned it, but Koala is also a blindo or blinda like myself. So
that ruined everything. You didn't have to say anything.
I'm feeling very unsafe right now.
Yeah.
Are you triggered?
Yeah,
Did I trigger you here?
I was triggered.
Oh,
I
shit.
don't know what to do.
You better call your. Oh wait, don't call your therapist, because then you can claim victim.
God, I hope you're not upset that we revealed this information. I mean,
well, I am a person who has an impairment. And I am not a quote. No, I can't even finish it. It's making me sick. But you see where.
Well, you know what? Tell that story that you were telling me about the school, where you were thinking of teaching, and they were gonna bring up the fact that you were blind, but they couldn't say blind.
Oh, I was actually a teaching assistant in a seminar that happened to be at a state college. And the woman who was hosting us, she worked for the college. She was a director of their program. And she kept mentioning, sight impaired. And I don't normally get worried about titles, but I just said, actually, it's a lot easier. You can say I'm blind, because people were getting uncomfortable figuring out what to say. Mm-hmm. And I'm not really, I guess technically, yes, I'm sight impaired. I'm about as impaired as you can get. I don't have any. So but blind is not a bad word. That's the one I prefer to be called. And I'm thinking, I'm in a liberal place. I should be able to have my preferred verb, or no, adjective.
Adjective there.
I'm not fasting either. But
I'm not fasting. I'm just not eating or some shit.
But I mentioned that to her. I said, can you, is that all right? And she said, Jeannie, when we're out in public and we're at dinner, I refer to you however you want. In here, legally, I have to say sight impaired, because I work for the state college, and that's the terms that they accept.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I thought, so I have to be made uncomfortable because
to make the sighted people comfortable.
Yeah, the sighted people are the ones who get to be comfortable when you're the one made uncomfortable.
It's all
really they made it to make you comfortable.
It's all ridiculous. I used to have that thing where I think you remember Maxwell. I used to go, I'm not blind. I'm visually impaired. Because I'm not blind. I'm legally blind, I guess you could say. But now I don't give as much of a crap, because, it's definitely technically true. But I just don't care as much, because like you said, you get away with that, especially when you're younger. You focus on it more. But like right now, it's like anything else. It's just a weakness. It's one of my weaknesses. As I said before, it's just a little bit more obvious than everyone else's weaknesses, other weaknesses. Right. Like the same thing can be said for someone, intelligence or anything like that, or whatever you want to call it. I know what I bring to the table. It's just that it's just obvious that I can't see very well, or so people focus on that more. But that's
cracking a beer.
No, it's a sparkling water.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on the bike early tomorrow, so no. I wish.
Gotcha.
having to deal with us, you probably should have had it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, well, if you are cracking a beer, that's totally cool.
I thought about it. I did. I just don't have any. And
but it's the same thing with that victim mentality. Like when we grew up in the 80s, man, it was all about fuck you. I'm visually impaired, but that doesn't mean I can't do anything. Now it's like I'm visually impaired and I can't do anything.
Oh, yeah.
Like the whole thing is switched. It's like that's another. It's funny. I have a little. I don't know if I talked to you about this, Max, but it's funny how I wonder where we fit in on the spectrum as white dudes who are visually impaired or disabled. Like, where are we on the damn totem pole of victimhood?
I think we still get some minority points though because we have our visual impairments.
Yeah, but here's my thought. Which is funny, which is why the whole idea of identity politics and all that is complete horseshit and completely. And I can blow it out of the water easily, right? So I'm sitting across. You see me across, or some typical person sees me across the street. They see a white dude sitting at a bus stop, right? If you're an identity politics person, you're going to assume several things about me. I have privilege. I'm a white guy. I have this. I am sex. I'm inherently whatever. I am definitely highest in the totem pole. However, from that distance, it's impossible to tell that I'm visually impaired, right?
Okay.
So they're going to make presumptions about me and about who I am. But if they met me and realized that I was visually impaired, where would that shift them in their perspective of me? You know what I'm saying? Like that's why the idea is so ridiculous that you have to accept people as individuals because we all have our own different quote unquote privileges and lack of privilege, I guess.
Right.
But it's just kind of funny that people have no idea and they assume, oh well, you're this.
Yeah, you're obviously, look, he's just one of those white racist people. Until they see you looking at a package and they say, why are you smelling the package?
And the scariest part, or my phone.
Somebody actually said that to him one time.
They say it all, I've had it several times. Why are you smelling your phone? I'm like,
it's a smellophone.
Yeah.
This is a very special phone, and I can, I don't know. There's some gems in there you could. My
girlfriend just texted a fart at me. Oh.
Yeah.
She put the phone to her pussy, so that's why I was smelling it.
There you go.
Put the phone.
There you go.
Smell-a-phone. It's a fart phone, not a smartphone.
Literally,
it can fucking. I just think it's so funny how that works. How people can see you and make a judgment, have no idea, and then when they hear, because I have people still say that to me. Well, you're a white male, and I want to go. Do you know? This is the dangerous part of it too, is that I want to say, do you know how much discrimination I've faced in my life that you have absolutely no idea about? Like, do you know how much fucking? I mean, we all do, and everyone does discriminate. I'm not talking like as a victim, but like, do you know how many times in public or in life I have been literally told things that are absolutely insulting that I guarantee you haven't even fucking experienced ever. And just because you have a darker skin tone or you're a different gender than me, but you think that you have. How about you just look at me as an individual, and then we don't worry about this bullshit, this one-upman fucking victim horseshit, because we all have it. We all get it in different ways. Right. Yes, you were thrown like you throw like a girl, or maybe you were made fun of, or you have different presumptions about yourself for being female. But were you ever told while you were working that it's great that you're getting out? Great, you're getting out.
That's a good question.
Side. Huh?
I've been told that. Koala, have you as well? Because I know Bruce can
yeah. I mean, definitely that, and then also people will say things like, "It must be really scary."
Yeah,
and
I hear that.
I'm walking to the bathroom, and I'm like, the fact that you said that is a little frightening. Yeah, but it's not really scary. Or the one that I get all the time is, or not all the time, but a lot of times is when I'm working in classrooms and we have to walk around to different tables. I am not walking at my normal fast ass pace. I'm walking with the idea that I know chairs are going to be there and I'm going to move around people's bags and everything. And I'm very physically fit. So I'm not going to, if I run into a chair, I'm probably going to be running into it at very slow speed. And it's going to be like, oh, there's a chair there.
Right.
I'm not going to even bark my shin on it. People will leap off a table to get the chair. And mid work, I'm like now at the point where every time I introduce myself when I'm, teaching or doing work in seminars, I actually started off with, all right, I want to just break the ice here. I will be walking around the classroom. You're going to see me probably bump lightly into a chair and navigate around it. The last thing I want you to do is stop your work to help, because you're actually going to slow me down. You're going to not pay attention. You're going to miss something crucial because we go fast in these classes. So you worry about you, and I'm going to worry about you this weekend. And it still happens.
But... of course. Yeah, you can't get over it. And I love the idea, like, I was touched unwanted by, I've been, how many times have people put their hands on me and try to guide me and touch me and move me around without my permission? I've been violated.
You call it the pet the tard syndrome. I've actually had people, in like at networking things where they know me and they'll walk up to me and kind of like pat my shoulder or pat my arm and then walk away. And actually, at one of them, I actually had to stand up and say, "Hey, I just would like to make a little announcement. If you're going to touch me, please identify yourself."
Yeah.
It's it's okay to violate your personal space in some of those situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just the mentality of when we grew up. Like, my mentality was always, I am just like you, just in terms of a human being with my own, whatever I have, everything that I have, hang-ups, problems, and that's just all I'm asking for. And now you've got people that are putting their eyes out because they want to be blind. There's literally people. Have you heard?
I've heard that.
The fucking people that are cutting their arms off because what the fuck is wrong with our world when we were out of control, man? I mean, when people are doing that kind of shit because they want the attention, they can't feel good being normal. It's why the whole, it's why, like you said, the phobia or it's the extreme of what we were talking about earlier about people wanting to be sick, wanting to be in pain, because it makes them better. They're morally better than us because they suffer. Suffering has become a moral virtue.
How about the term? I hate this one. I'm 100% disabled. So
wow,
have you heard that?
That's really unfortunate because I don't know what my percentage is. That I don't think I. How do you even factor that on a percentage?
It's legal. It's a legal thing now. They actually, Social Security will declare people as 100% disabled.
So you are a vegetable, basically.
You're dead. Yeah, exactly. You're dead. If you're 100% disabled, you're not even alive.
Here's what I think. I think everyone's 50% disabled and 50% spectacularly able.
Yeah. Well, I've actually heard there was a guy that goes into the bar I go into that does that says, "Oh yeah, man, I'm 100% disabled," and meanwhile he's over there shooting pool and all this other crazy shit. Okay, dude.
Yeah. You're great. You're disabled. Now you're a better person for not having to do anything. It's another responsibility thing too. Yay, I'm great. I have this victim thing that I have. All right. So have you really faced victimhood? You live in a 2-story house with your family. You're in an interracial marriage or whatever the hell else you're doing. You're doing whatever the hell you want to. Okay, you're oppressed and
you're oppressed and repressed and all that shit.
Because, like I said, it's a way of saying, hey, there's like those like the whole, I'm the blindos, the militant fucking NFB
fuckbags,
crazy fucking people who want everything accommodated for, like things that don't even make sense and shit. Like,
oh yeah, well they want everything in Braille.
Yeah.
Actually, that was another one. Koala, you had a story you told me about with the people. Somebody got mad because the test wasn't in Spanish or some crazy shit.
Oh yeah. Okay, so it was a state exam for a licensing for massage, and it was only offered in English and Puerto Rican Spanish. The reason Puerto Rican Spanish is because it's a province of the U.S. So the national languages, which are English, and then that one somehow got in. I don't, whatever. But they were just raising hell because it wasn't in any other language. And I had pointed out, I said, well, I've never had an exam that was offered in Braille. I've had to figure out ways to learn, and I'm not better than you, but if I needed to figure out a way to
adapt to where you are living.
Yeah, and get material. I didn't go, you need to put this in Braille for me. I said, okay, I need to figure out where I can get a scanner to read this material. Can I get it online? Wasn't a thing back when I was in college. I mean, it was, but not huge.
Yeah.
Do I need to hire a reader? What do I need to do to get this done? And yes, it'll take me longer. and it will be not. It's going to be a little bit of an inconvenience, but I'll do it. And so, I was very unpopular for pointing out that I'd never had an exam in my life, except in elementary school, that was provided in a way that I could go, oh, I'll read this and I'll braille it.
Right. You had to accommodate yourself. Like, okay, I'm in the class and I'm wanting to take a class and be treated normally. So I've got to find a way that I can accommodate myself instead of asking for them to accommodate you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And maybe coming up with a suggestion of, hey, is there a way we can have a translation, software or, something where you can say, hey, can I have this accommodation if I'm able to provide this translation software in the test?
Right.
Come to the table with something. You can't just come and bitch. I think we're much more likely to want to accommodate people. I mean, no, everybody's wanting to accommodate, especially where I am, because it's so liberal and they're so condescending. But have a solution. Like, hey, I can't do it this way. Is it possible for us to meet in the middle somewhere? Or if I provide this, have some kind of solution. Don't just complain and expect, oh, you didn't like it? Oh, of course.
Yeah, or the idea.
You didn't like the hamburger?
Yeah. Just the idea of, and that kind of brings just the idea, and this is a big thing now for where I work, because there's so much crap happening and just absolute terrible service and just terrible service, I guess, just terrible everything, because there's a constant fear now that if you do not say that you have to speak a certain language. Okay, let me rephrase that. You can say that if you are a bilingual agent or a bilingual person, that you have to speak English and Spanish, right? If you want to do the certain jobs, you literally have to speak English and Spanish. But God forbid that you actually just say you have to speak English. So think about it. Like, so let's you have somebody who has to be a like if I said I don't believe that certain jobs should be available for those who can't speak English, for certain, like if you have to communicate with people, we talked about this before. You have to communicate with people, then you should obviously know the language you're communicating with. So if you have a Spanish line, you should know Spanish. But if you have an English line, you should be fluent in English. And that is absolutely not considered a good thing to say. I've been, we've had people say, well, you really shouldn't try to mention that because, that's really, and you don't mention the specific language either. That's the thing. And people automatically assume a certain thing because you're speaking about, it's like anything else. Like it always comes back to the same things: the racism, sexism, homophobia, all that horse shit, intersectional stuff. But it always comes back to the same thing. Like if I went up to us, it's just as crazy for me to go, you know what, this is racism because I don't speak Spanish, but that's racism because
see, but you could never say that.
Of course not.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not real.
That's what I'm saying, is that you can't say that. So in other words, if there's a bilingual person who has to speak two languages, that's not racist. That's a requirement for the job. Like if you have to read signs and if you have to communicate with people and have to read directions and have to know addresses or whatever else, you need to know it. But they accommodate them. They have a specific section that is actually accommodating these people who can't read. Like we have a new transfer option or whatever I want to call it. I want to go too detail. Of people who are doing a job where they need to speak English, they need to communicate with people to get things to where they need to be. They need to read addresses and read notes to get where they need to be. Yet they have a certain Spanish-only department for people who are required to use English to do the job.
Do they have a white-only department?
Yes. Let's put it this way. Like, okay. You have to read a sign on the door to be able to tell where to leave something, right?
Okay.
You have to be able to obviously read the language that's the native country where a majority of people are living to be able to deliver that package successfully. Well, let's say you need to call someone to get access to a location, and you have to actually communicate with that person over the phone. You would honestly assume that you have to have a fluency in a certain language to do that, right?
You think?
No, they have a whole department now set up for people who are doing just that, who actually have to, and they have absolutely no idea how to speak English whatsoever.
And they're working for that company.
They're working for people who actually have signs up in English to direct them places, who have to be contacted in English to have them to get directions for certain things or access to certain things. And
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. Think about it. Just really think about it. I mean, it'd be like me actually literally saying, yeah, well, I don't speak Spanish, but I'm going to go ahead and be hired on as a bilingual person anyways, even though I don't know the language. Like, or if I were in Mexico and they said, yeah, I don't know Spanish, but I want to be a customer service agent in your call center.
Shit. That's the case.
What?
I mean, that's the case. I'll say I'm bilingual.
Yeah.
You know, I know a few words in Spanish, you know, so hey, I'm bilingual, right?
But first of all, it shows how little they care about their customer service. It shows how little they care about their actual customers if they're actually don't what they're looking to do is find cheap labor because it's, you know, to work at their company. So that they don't have so that they don't have to worry about, so that, you know, they don't have to worry about actually having the more people they can get in, the better, because it's a revolving door type thing, you know.
Pay you 3 cents a year kind of shit.
But that's
crazy.
That's our crazy, or how crazy our shit is here. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, and you know, Koala, you're right in the you know, epicenter of all that crazy shit. One of them epicenters.
Yeah.
Yes. We are so enlightened here that we're so not. It is amazing, because I love going to places where they're just straight up, even if I don't like what they have to say.
Yeah.
And here it's almost like people tiptoe. Well, they tiptoe around things so much that they're offensive, in my opinion, because you don't know what they're really thinking.
Yeah.
You can guess, but you really don't, because if someone, yeah, what we should do is, I don't know if you want to spit on me, if I offend you, if I freak you out. Now I don't know where we are. If you're just like, you know, oh, hey, this pissed me off. Okay, I know exactly where we are.
Yeah,
and now we can talk, you know, or I have no idea what you just said. Can you explain that? You know, or, you know, just something direct where, you know, this is just a very, and we're so unenlightened. I think that if you really got inside most people's heads around here, they're bigoted. They're very privileged. I mean, we're talking very privileged, but they can't appear to be real about it. They have to be compassionate. They have to be enlightened. They have to be manifesting their own, you know, bullshit. It's just, it wouldn't be done. I mean, you know, they can't just be direct, rather than just say, you know, I like my big house. Yes, I'm a housewife. I never had to work. And you know what? I'm happy with that. I'm fulfilled. It's, you know, they got to read Oprah's Book of the Month Club and act like they're really learning some shit. That shit is boring.
Or they feel guilty about for some reason for things that so they're actually the ones that are actually, it's also the low expectations, like, oh, well, I'm white, or I'm this, or so all these other people.
I'm so much better than you people. You know,
it's like Joe Biden said, you know, all the poor people and all the white people too. It's like,
and he is white.
And that's what I'm saying. So, but the vast majority of minorities in this country you're gonna get crazy about this. Guess what? They're not poor.
Right?
No.
They aren't. I'm not joking.
No,
no one will tell you that. No one will say the vast majority of black people in this country are not poor. The vast majority. In fact, well, if you want to go like global on this shit, we're all in the 1%. We are the 1%.
Yeah,
we literally are. If you are the poorest person in this country, you are the richest person in all but 5% of the rest of the fucking world.
Right.
So these people that are talking about all this shit that are, oh my God, it's so awful. How many TVs do you have? How many phones? Do you have a phone in your pocket that's more powerful than the biggest supercomputer in Bongdok-chi down the fucking, you know, at the you know what I'm saying? Like, you literally do. Like, these fucking people are working on Apple IIe's fucking in their classrooms. You got a fucking 5 billion Apple IIs in your fucking pocket, in your Apple 10 or your new phone. I'm so, like, all these people, I need money, I need a job, I can't handle this, I don't have any money, I need to get in the system. Okay, what kind of phone do you have? An iPhone 11. The fuck?
Well, you got homeless people that got stuff.
Oh yeah. Now that's the thing. That's the new thing that they're banging on Trump for. He's taking away all the homeless' cell phones.
Oh.
Yes,
oh God.
Wow.
Yeah. And I am not a Trump I'm not a Trump fan. I don't like him a lot. But I'd rather have him, as he's a bull in a china shop, instead of a snake in the grass. But the media is absolutely disgusting. It's such absolute just hit piece after hit piece that anybody who has any objectivity knows. Oh, Trump took money away from school children, and yeah, I'm sure he's the president. I'm sure he signed a bill that did something to somebody, just like Obama and Bush and Clinton and every other fucking president. It's like
right.
Well, and how ignorant do we have to be to think that hasn't been going on for years? My dad was a teacher for years, and he made less than the guy who took the fucking minutes at the school board meeting. The administrations have been doing this kind of stuff. They've been taking away from school children and schools for years. And it happens in all kinds of organizations. It's how you budget. Not, it can't just be, one bill took it all away. No, there are ways that the system has been doing that for a lot of years. And it's not fair. It's not right, but it's not one guy. And when you look at politics, which I unfortunately have had more experience than I would have liked to inadvertently, it doesn't happen that quick. It has to go through, things have to go to appropriations, exactly. There's gut and amend. There's all these things that happen that people who have never observed it, they really think, why? Well, if he believes that, why doesn't he just sign a bill or propose a bill? It takes a long time to do that. You got to get backing. You got to make sure that your bill's not going to piss off somebody that you need support on something else that you think is more important. There's so many things just that happen.
It's ridiculous, but that's the way our country is. We're so goddamn divided, and it's all literally polarized. That if Trump fucking if you saw Trump run into a burning building and save a baby they'd say, well, they'd say, well, you didn't save the jewelry. He
something left,
dumb, or
or why'd you pick the baby and not the toddler? It'd be something.
Right.
It would be,
there's always whatever. Something. I mean, and if fucking Joe Biden or Hillary, whoever's running for the god awful Democratic fucking party right now, whoever's running for these offices, if he did something amazing, there's going to be Republicans doing the same thing. The only difference is, I think, is that there really is this derangement fucking thing over Trump, where everything he does is, did you know that he ate a baby last week? And you're like, you believe that? You believe CNN? You literally believe CNN? MSNBC? You believe those fucking
Right. Well, I got in an argument with a millennial last night about how he hates Trump and this and that. Yeah, all you had to hear was millennial. Right? Yeah. And this kid, and I'm going, well, what is it you don't like about Trump, man? And he really couldn't tell me. There was no concrete anything that he could say where he was like, oh, well, because he pulled the whole, well, I'm part Mexican. And, and I'm like, yeah, but you're Chicano. You were born here. So how the fuck does that affect you? So he couldn't tell me. He could give me no concrete anything on why he hated Trump.
Because he's been told it's the thing that, and I'm not saying that you should like Trump. I mean, a lot of the things he does and says, either, but I mean, I don't like him. I think he's kind of a fucking, like I said, a goddamn bull in a china shop. He's crude and he's obviously, I kind of like him. Egocentric, but here's the thing also. But you're going to give him props on some things because the economy's. A lot of people are like, it's awful. He's never done anything good. He's the worst president ever.
Oh yeah, that's what this dude was saying.
I want to ask a question for these people. How many troops have died under Trump?
Yeah, we don't hear much about that anymore.
How many American soldiers have died under Trump? And I'm not trying. Like I said, I don't believe a lot of stuff. But how many have died? You want to ask how many have died under Obama? Ooh.
Oh shit. Yeah.
You want to talk about the conflicts that Obama was in, and I'm not, and like I said, I can't stand both parties most of the time. But when the media is so slanted and so biased that it's just over the top, you gotta, like, you've got people that are like people now that are considered classical liberals. Like I kind of consider myself freedom of speech, individuality, that kind of stuff, just classical ideas of what it means to be a free society. We're actually being considered like really far right now. Like we're actually the right wing. We want freedom. We don't believe speech hate crime speech should be abolished. No, there's no speech should be abolished ever.
No.
Yeah.
Ever.
I mean, we might not like it, and I mean, you could say something absolutely offensive to me, and you could offend me on every moral ground, and I might hate you for saying it, but I would defend your right to say it, and I would, because I think we need to be able to, and kind of reverts in a long way back to the safe spaces, because if we don't have these conversations, we don't learn something.
No.
You know,
yeah.
I mean, I might, have a aversion to, I might even, and I'm honestly not racist. But what if I grew up in
Alabama or somewhere, right?
Well, what if I grew up, like my mom grew up in the East LA ghetto? She has certain experience, might not be modern day, but from years back, with growing up in a really tough neighborhood with that culture. And there are some things that they're great with, and some things their propensity to, not all of them, but some things that were not good. And so she might have a different insight than, say, I would. And she does have a different insight on that. So if I just go, oh, you shouldn't say that, you're stereotyping those people. Well, actually, I didn't have the experience she had. So I need to say, why do you think that? What's your experience? And then we can talk about it.
Yeah, but you can't. No, you're a homophobe, you're a racist, you're a sexist. The end of the conversation stops the conversation, because to have the conversation would actually have these people think, and guess what that makes them? Uncomfortable.
Yep. There we go.
And there we go back to the same theory that's going on. It's all about comfort. It's all about this comfort and responsibility, I think, because because it's different. It's if you have to be responsible for something, and you actually your own actions, and you can't blame someone else, then you feel uncomfortable for not meeting your own standards. But if you can say, well, it's my race, that's why I'm not doing this, then boom, you don't have to feel uncomfortable about that. One less thing to feel upset about. The whole triggered horse shit.
Yeah. Yep. I was triggered. I was I was put down. I was whatever, discriminated against, or whatever dumb shit.
It's just like Dave Chappelle now. Have you seen the new Dave Chappelle?
No.
Holy shit, you guys!
You should.
You guys, you see?
Actually, I saw it, dude. Remember, but I fell asleep.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you were half. But it's you didn't fall asleep. That's not the term for it.
Oh, I passed out.
Don't trigger him.
There you go.
I'm triggered now. Damn it.
But now this guy, he's being called a homo. He's all these things. People are saying he should be, and then like all these comedians are just like awful and then you got this new kind of comedian who's talking about being raped on stage and shit, and it's like this.
What?
Oh, this awful comedian from Australia. She's just some man-hating, just awful, just completely just dreary comedy. It's not even funny. It's about, well, I was 12 and I was told. It's like, that's not comedy. You're just banking off your.
Actually, that's funny. Remember when I told you my friend came here from South Dakota, and he's one of these. He still thinks he's in college. And remember I said he took me to some show down there in Fremont, and it was a chick, and she was, basically being trailer trash. It was supposed to be comedy. I didn't find it very funny. There were some parts about her getting ass raped by her dad I thought was kind of hilarious, but that she was what she was talking about, you know what I mean? But she was making, it's like Cruise Control saying there, taking something that's pretty fucking dreary and almost making it more victim-like rather than having, making it comedy, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's insane.
That's a support group topic. It's not a comedy show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And he was like, "Oh, this woman's so great. She's so good." And he knew her too. Actually, she came out, and he was like, "Hey, you remember me from the whatever the fuck festival it was?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm glad you were able to come out and see us." And I'm like, "Man, this shit was like an hour of some bullshit."
Yes, it's like they use it for their own personal therapy session, but not the right kind of comedic therapy. It's like poor me. Oh, you're awful. Like this woman actually said in the comedy, men should feel bad for themselves in the audience because you're awful. Like that kind of shit. Like,
wow, that's nice.
Yeah, half the population of the world who's just being completely just down now, and what are you gonna do?
That's insane.
Well, and it's just so disturbing because, that implies that all men did something to her when.
Well, that's the idea.
And and you shouldn't feel bad, and men aren't awful, and some women are awful, and
of course
some kids are awful.
People are awful.
Right.
A lot of people are awful, but how many times that in this area, I'm in the Northwest, so obviously it's kind of like really totally lib up here. How often I've been told literally, and it's with a straight face, yeah, but you're a white male. Like, what does that even? What does that even mean? Like, so what does that mean? My opinion doesn't matter, of course. But it's so funny how it shifted now. how that's okay. Like that would never have been okay in when I grew up. Like we were told it's all about who you are as a person, what you do for what you do, not a well, you're a white man. What does that even? How does that? Well, you have a certain perspective. No, I don't.
Well, and skin, we were told skin color didn't matter back in the day. You know, I mean, look at how much.
Now that's considered racist. Is saying that.
Fuck yeah! By saying skin color doesn't matter is actually a racist statement.
So we're going and I think things are backlashing now. Like the new generation, like after the millennials, they're actually way more conservative because they've seen how batshit crazy these people are getting, and they're actually more like, this is all ridiculous. Like safe spaces and all this crazy shit and triggering. It's like, what the like they're like, I don't. It's like a balance. Hopefully it'll balance itself out. But
I'm hoping so, man. But it's getting pretty fucking scary now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So wow. Well, that was quite the deep conversation there, guys.
Yeah, we can have this again. Absolutely, that's what we do. Sometimes we talk about our shits, but tonight we actually had we talk shit instead of talking about our shits.
Right.
Real shit. So, and I do want to throw out, because I want to push you to do this, Koala, your YouTube channel that will be coming soon.
Oh,
remember we talked about that? I said you should have a YouTube channel.
Yes, and I do not. Okay, yes, I don't have it yet. So.
Oh, I know you don't, but I'm saying, be on the lookout.
Yeah. We will be doing that. I've had a lot of shit going on, but yes, that will be happening.
I won't let you forget about it.
Oh, jeez, put her on the spot. On it. Good job, Max.
That's what I always do.
You'll be getting to talking to later on. No.
Well, it was funny because I was like, wait a minute, was I supposed to? Because there've been a couple of things over the last weekend where I dropped the ball on, not some important things, but I'm like, wait a minute, oh shit, I was supposed to do that. And I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't fuck up something else, did I?
No, we just talked at one point. I said you should have a YouTube channel, like sort of a health and fitness, because you were giving me some coaching on stretching exercises and shit that I could do and whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's definitely going to be in the works. We've had some just quite a chaotic stuff going on just in the community as well as family things too. But it's definitely something I'm passionate about. There's a lot of misinformation out there, as I said earlier, and it's a lot of research that's not being identified and recognized for the sake of keeping old paradigms alive. And if we did that over the years, we'd still be bleeding people. We'd never change. So it's just we have to kind of get on board with the new information. So yeah, it's definitely something that I intend to do, and we'll keep you posted on that.
Cool.
Nice.
All right. Well, anyways, I guess we're gonna wrap it up here for night, and I'm glad we didn't have any more difficulties. Difficulties.
Defecation.
Difficulties. Either way. Yeah. I'm gonna eat soon.
Eat some food, man.
No,
what you need to do.
No, I feel good actually. It's just like I said. You get over this day, and then you kind of start getting used to it. And the thing is, you read your body, and if I need to eat something, I'm not gonna go like no. If I'm like, no, I'm gonna grab some food, so I'll grab like an apple or something like that and start slow.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But yeah. Anyways, this has been the Nothing Sacred Show for the 5th of November, 2019. I am Cruise Control.
Maxwell Silverhammer.
I'm Koala.
And that's the story there, bitches! We'll see you next time.
Nice.
We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. With Maxwell Silverhammer. We are nothing sacred. With cruise control.